What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a bit of a discussion video around Baldur's Gate 3 and the max level contained therein. At least for the full release version of the game. As it stands currently in early access, we only have the ability to go to level 4. Now, the initial plan was for the max level of the game to bring you to level 10. However, after some adjustments, they made an announcement that the final max level will be somewhere between 10 and 20, but definitely not 220. So we actually don't have an official max level for the game just yet, but the safe money is somewhere between 12 and 14 more than likely. So today I wanted to discuss, of course, as the title told you, why I highly doubt that number will ever be 20 and why it's not 20 at release, etc. Now, while it's not technically true, if you're unaware, level 20 is roughly the maximum level for 5e. You can make content beyond that point. These are typically referred to as epic levels. However, it's not really officially supported by Wizards of the Coast, which is largely the biggest reason why our level is unlikely to go to level 20 to begin with. If you're unaware, most of the content produced by Wizards of the Coast does not go to level 20. Oftentimes they'll have the tables and the charts, etc. to support up to level 20, but the content they put out via their modules, etc. never really gets to that point. So why is that? Which is a question that brings us to the biggest reason we're unlikely to ever see level 20 in this game. And that is simply because 5e is the most popular edition of Dungeons & Dragons ever. And as countless surveys have told and retold, most people simply do not even get to level 15, which means that Wizards of the Coast, of course, focuses on making content for the biggest portion of their audience, and while you can find level 20 content, it's few and far between. And quite frankly, if there aren't people playing at this level, they're just not going to make it, so the later game doesn't get nearly as much focus as that early game does. Which brings us to the second reason I don't think we'll ever see level 20, and that's largely due to balance. So starting at pretty much 12 and onward, you start getting access to very strong abilities and spells, etc. that really unbalance the game, frankly. And once you start hitting those levels, more often than not, whoever goes first wins. And it becomes a very difficult thing to balance and make engaging content for that doesn't ultimately wind up feeling a little bit ridiculous. To put it pretty simply, levels 1 through 12 just about are the most commonly played levels for the most popular version of D&D. So frankly, it's the safe money to put your level range for a game in that space. And while I'm certainly not ruling out the possibility of the level cap being raised via a DLC or a post-launch update or something like that, I would say that Larian is not typically known for doing a lot of post-launch DLC type stuff. Of their games, Original Sin 2 got the most support, and even then it was really only their gift bags, which are free DLC basically, that kind of flesh out the game a little more. They didn't make new level caps, etc. So while it's certainly not impossible, I don't know that I would bank on post-launch support for BG3, including things like a level increase. Regardless of how you feel about it, 5e is the most popular version of D&D, and it's fairly rules light, which gives it that really big mass appeal that it has, frankly, because honestly it's just a lot easier to play. And as such, with BG3 being an adaptation of 5e, frankly I think it's just a safe bet development-wise to put the level range for the content alongside with what the people who are actually playing 5e will be the most familiar with, which is the most popular levels at which the game is played. And so, for all of those reasons together, regardless of how you feel about it, I sincerely doubt the level cap for BG3 will ever go to level 20, at least without the assistance of mods. And to be perfectly honest, if you really enjoy playing D&D at those higher levels, then you are a significantly smaller portion of the audience for 5e than the rest of it. And again, with this being a game that they want to be successful, they're really going for that broad appeal. Now, overall, personally, I actually don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I, typically speaking, enjoy lower level adventures myself, and while I'm certainly familiar with and know how to play the higher level stuff, quite frankly, I just think that the early game is more balanced because enemies and yourself have less abilities, and thus it's easier to kind of stake out a balanced gameplay encounter or methods between all of those abilities and skills that you have. And in my experience, I tend to just enjoy lower level adventures more, which is my personal preference, but truth be told, I'm a little disappointed we're not getting to level 20 as well. As personally, especially in a video game, I like to see the full spectrum of what should theoretically be available. And honestly, as someone who plays these games, I think the best way to teach someone is exposure to those things, because at this point, I think it's turned into a bit of a small vicious circle between Wizards of the Coast not making high-level content because people don't play it as much, and people not playing it as much because the content isn't made for it, which means a lot of people just never get to experience it because they don't make the content for it, and back and forth, etc. But nonetheless, there's just a bit of a discussion and opinion piece why I just simply don't think BG3 will ever have a level 20 max level. But by all means, let me know how you feel about it down in the comment section below, and regardless of any of that, truly, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.